Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to Hilaal Live. It's the Motorsport show, and before the break we had two legends, and continuing with legends in this industry. And we always know that the motor industry, if you are involved in the motorsport industry, you know that it's always a family, brings family together. It's a family affair. People have been racing because their dads, their granddads, their aunts, their uncles, all involved in the racing industry. And this legend continues. And in studio, I'd like to welcome Abdul Kader Dalwai, who is the father, and Zuhayr Dalwai, who's the son. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Shukr so much for coming in all the way from Worcester. Can you believe it? Thanks. I really appreciate it. Let's start with Dad, Abdul Kader. You must be so proud to be in this industry with your son as well. But where did your passion for motor racing start?
It came from my father. My father also used to race. He started, I think, in '92 in Saldanha on the West Coast track. So yeah, I grew up along the
in the racing
in
world.
the racing, yeah.
How old were you when you started? When this passion ignited?
I started when I was 10.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm racing long already, 21 years.
Okay.
So yeah, my father still races with me, and my brother also recently started, I think 2 years ago.
Okay.
He started with his racing career, and then he also started now recently.
My technician het gesê ek moet Afrikaans praat, but my Afrikaans is nie so goed nie, en hulle het nie gedink ek kan Afrikaans praat ook. But we're going to stick to English because it's a little better.
Yeah.
The industry itself, coming from a family-orientated industry in the motorsport, that must have evolved. When your dad, or when you were younger, what type of racing did your dad do, and what were the cars that they used?
Yes, they had that old cars. With, that time it was bumping cars.
Oh,
now
okay.
it's more how can I say, non-contact sport.
Gotcha.
But there's still people that is bumping and stuff. So.
And so, what cars did they use back then?
Ford Escorts,
Okay.
the old Ford Sapphire cars.
They were strong cars.
Yeah,
eh?
yes.
Okay.
They were tanks.
They were tanks, you're right. And they were stock, or did they
Yes.
modify them?
You get different classes. You get the stock class, like now you get the stock rod class.
Okay.
And then we race in the 1660 class, 1600 modified class.
1600 modified.
Modified,
And
yes.
what cars do you have? Also Fords?
No, Golfs.
Golfs,
Golfs,
okay.
and Polo. I had a Polo. So yeah, it's most other people has VWs, Golfs, yeah.
Gotcha. And then we've also invited your son, Zuhayr, that is here, and also in the racing industry as well.
Yes.
How long have you been racing for, Zuhayr?
For 6 months.
6 months.
Yes.
And what do you drive? What type of vehicle do you drive?
Go-kart.
A go-kart. Now, what made you want to get into go-karting? Is it you saw your dad, your granddad? What made you want to get into racing?
My dad, my granddad, and my uncle.
And your uncle. Now, when you get onto the track, right? How do you prepare yourself? Do you first check your car and then get into the car? Take me through what goes through your mind on a race day.
I get in, put on my helmet, Ayatul Kursi, and get in.
Beautiful.
And on the track.
MashaAllah, I like that very much. I think that's the best thing you could have said all evening as well. Now, when you get into the track, is it race mode? Are you focused?
Yes.
Okay, and take me through a typical race. How many laps do you go?
Like sometimes it depends how much cars we are. Like if we 5 cars and then we like, I don't know how much laps.
Okay.
But usually we drive 6 or 7 laps.
6 or 7. Okay.
Yes.
that's a lot of driving as well, hey?
Yeah,
And you don't even have your license.
And it's on dirt as well, so.
Oh, so it's off-road.
It's off-road, yeah.
So with a young man like Zuhayr being involved in racing, is there any safety that needs to be told to them, that needs to be discussed? Is there any testing that happens before them getting into the car?
Like the flags, they have to know what flag is what, and yeah, the normal safety gear they have to put on, the helmets and seat belts,
gloves, yeah,
and all fire resistant.
And the car itself, what type of car is it?
It's they call it a mega kart. That's the class name, but it's a I don't know if you saw a midget already. overseas cars.
Yes.
Now it's a replica of that car.
I see.
But just smaller. It's built on a go-kart frame.
So what speeds can these cars go up to?
Yes, I'm not sure, but it's fast.
Really? Do you like it when it goes fast? I'm sure you do. So, Dad, in terms of, your son being a racer, being in this, surely you have some concerns. What are some of the conversations that you have with him when you're practicing, when you race? Let's start with practice sessions. Take us through a typical practice session.
The first time we went on the track, so I showed him to slow down, but he thought I was saying he must go faster. And I just turned my back on him because I was afraid he's going to knock the wall or something.
Right.
But he has the game on a PS4.
Okay.
And it's the controls and everything. It's like the racing on the track.
Wow.
So that helps a lot with him with his racing career. So yeah.
What do your friends at school think about you racing? Do they think it's cool? Do they say, oh, we saw you, we saw pictures of you? What are the conversations that you have in school?
Like, if I go to school after racing, then I tell them what happened the whole weekend, and then they will like be happy for me. And
do they also want to come and race with you?
Nah,
No, okay. So I think it would take a very special person to do what you do as well. Your car, what color is your car? I think we've got some pictures that we want to put up on the screen. Tell us about your car.
It's yellow and purple.
Is that your favorite colors?
Yes.
Okay. And is there a special number on the car? There we go. We're looking at that beautiful car and that big man sitting on top of the car as well. So that's your car? And that's another picture of you as well with also you've got your
racing gear.
The racing gear on as well. That's to protect you, right?
Yes.
Does it get very hot in that? Not too much.
If it's hot, then I get hot.
Okay. So when you get into that car and you say, right, the race has now started, what goes through your mind? Just go fast, or I must catch up to the person, or are you normally the leader?
Be chilled.
Okay, be chilled. Oh, very confident. Didn't expect that. Okay, so you calm yourself, and then you go around. Is it an oval track? Is it different type of tracks you race on?
Oval.
Oval track. Okay. And is there a specific time that you try and get?
No.
Okay, so it's all about position at the moment.
Yes.
And the other competitors, are they also your age? Are they older? Are they younger?
Some of them are younger and some of them are older.
Okay, fantastic. It must be so lovely to watch them.
Yeah, it is very
prepare
nice.
for the race, but more importantly, go through that process when the race begins. I mean, take us through that.
I actually have a friend that helps me when he races, because we race on the same day.
Okay.
So for me, we must call it heat.
Okay.
So he will drive a heat just before me, so I can't sometimes see him. The first race, I couldn't see him because I was just driving after him.
Okay.
So a friend of mine started helping, and he's still helping me on the race days with him.
Right.
Especially with him, so he's always helping him.
Okay.
So I'm never involved with him going on the track. My friend's always there, so yeah, he guides him through.
Fantastic. It must be such a community event at the same time. Do you get lots of people come out to watch the races?
Yes, a lot.
Okay.
It's a big sport.
Okay. And what's a typical race day like? I mean, what time do you start? What time, or does the preparation for the race begin a couple of days before?
Yeah, if you have time, it starts from Monday already.
Okay.
If you have a lot of work, maybe a month before the time.
Yeah.
But no, normally we just, they call it a ball check.
Okay.
So we do a ball check, and in our class we have to service before every race. Mm-hmm. So normally we do that before a race, the Friday evening or the Saturday morning.
Right.
Before we go to the track. So yeah, it's then.
So do you have a practice session
no,
before
there's
the race?
no practice sessions.
Wow. So how do you know how your car performs?
So you can go practice. We in Worcester, so we can go practice any day. So we just call the the chairman and ask if we can go.
Right.
So then, yeah, we go test our car, or we test it on the track while racing.
What's a typical test day like? I mean, when you get into that car, what are you looking for?
You feel how the car handles, if you must adjust the suspension. So different tracks, different suspension.
Okay.
So you set up your car differently for any other track. All the tracks are not the same.
Okay. So on a particular track, what's your favorite track to race at?
At the moment, it's Vescus.
Vescus.
Yeah, Vescus.
So when you go to Vescus track, how do you set your car up?
How can I say, your suspension you must check. Okay. How can I
is there a
your
specific
crossweight?
setting?
Yes, they call it crossweight. So
Okay.
you have to change your crossweight a bit more aggressive than a normal flat track, because that track has a bank, so it's more American style, if I can say that.
Gotcha.
So the Worcester one is more flat.
Okay.
So yeah, you go slow in the corners in Worcester, and in Vescus you go fast in the corners.
Okay. What model of Golf do you race at the moment?
I sold my car recently, but I had a Polo 9 yeah, that I raced with.
Okay.
And now I recently bought myself I took over my brother's car.
Okay.
Mark 1 Golf.
Nice.
So yeah, I have that one now at the moment.
Fantastic. We're in studio chatting to Zuhayr Dalwai and Abdul Kader Dalwai, a son and father combination in the motorsport industry that are making waves. And it's so lovely to see a family involved in the sport and listening to all the wonderful stories about their interaction in the motorsport industry. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we catch and find out a few more stories about this father and son team. You are still watching Hilaal Live. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to the Motorsport Show on Hilaal Live. What a pleasure. We've got a father and son team in studio, Abdul Kader Dalwai and Zuhayr Dalwai, who's joined us all the way from Worcester. Can you believe it? Guys, thanks so much for coming in. A real pleasure having you in studio. The motor industry, I would imagine, if you can remember from the time your dad started to where you are now, has that changed significantly? I mean, if you look at the technology, the cars, take us through your years in the industry.
Yeah, it changed a lot. Like I said, that time when he used to race in 92, 93, they used to bump still. They yeah, they had outside bumpers.
Okay.
Now you're not
allowed
to race like that. So yeah, technology, adjustable suspension,
right,
clip-off steering wheels, and yeah, it's much different than that time.
How do you balance the ever-changing technology to making your car want to go faster? I mean, do you put quite a bit of technology in, or do you try and keep it out?
There was a guy that helped me, Rudy. He used to help me with suspension. I didn't have much knowledge about suspension, so he used to help me with suspension-wise. So if you have that, how can I say, your suspension properly set up, then you won't go wrong.
Nice.
So it's not always who has the fastest car. Your setup is most important.
Of course, of course. Zuhayr, I mean, when you race, right, and you look at your competitors, the other guys, are you guys friends off the track, on the track? What's the feeling like with the other guys? Do they become friends? Are they your friends at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, and do you guys talk to each other? Do you talk about your cars or your experience? Can you remember anything that you've discussed with the guys?
Like the last time when I drove on off-road, the one boy said, me and another two boys have to knock each other.
Oh, and did you?
Yes.
And did they take one of the guys out, or did you?
We just like
bumped?
tapped each other on the side, and then we left each other.
And then away you go. Sure.
first.
And do you like the speed? I mean, do you know what speeds you get up to?
No.
No, you don't. One of the things I want to ask you about is when you get into a car like that, is there a specific seat belt that you put on?
Yes.
Okay. What type of seat belt is it?
It's just like normal seat belts, but you have to also buckle it up here.
Okay. All right. And then you've got a helmet as well?
Yes.
We've got your helmets at the back there behind you. You've got some lovely helmets. But now I want to know, you've brought all these trophies in here. What are those trophies for?
I don't know.
You don't know. You can't remember.
No.
Okay, Dad, those trophies must be so proud. He's walked away with some wonderful
Yes.
trophies.
Yes. He did well 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
I think 2 weeks ago he raced the first time on tar. In not tar, lime.
Okay.
In Bredasdorp.
Okay. That's a beautiful side of the world.
Yes,
You get to
very
travel
nice.
as well. Nice.
Yes, a lot.
Nice.
So he raced the first time on tar, and then he was doing well, but a little bit overeager.
Okay.
And then he knocked one person, and then he was out.
Okay.
But he won, I think, two
Two
races.
races.
2 races.
Or 2
Well
heats
done.
in that event.
Okay.
But he couldn't finish the final, but he still came second for his points.
Very good. Very
And
good.
then,
Congratulations. Is there a
yeah.
bit of a season or table that they
Yes.
have? How
Yes,
does that work?
we raced till just before June. Yeah, June, July we stopped. Then there will be 1 or 2 off-season races in Oudtshoorn. And then we will start off in September again.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's, it's like 3 months, yes.
Okay,
But
lovely.
We have off time.
With yourself being in the industry as well, in the motorsport industry, how do you keep in shape? How do you balance that mindset to the body that needs to go into a car?
Well, I cycle when I get time.
Okay.
So yeah,
Is
that's
that your
what
fitness
we do.
regime?
Yes.
No gym, no
No,
eating.
nothing.
What about diet?
No, nothing.
Is it? Wow. Okay. You're lucky then to look like that. The setup of the car must also add and cost a pretty penny. Do you have a sponsor that comes on board?
Yes, I have a huge sponsor, Fonkert in Vredenburg.
Right.
They next to my father's business in Vredenburg. They sponsor me a lot, so thankful for them. Yeah, and then Rudy used to help me with suspension.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's all. And then we sponsor ourselves.
Of course. Do you work a full-time job?
Yes. My father has a business in Vredenburg. And I opened 3 years ago in Worcester.
Nice.
Same name, Sean's Car Audio.
Okay.
We do window tinting and car alarm, smash and grab, rubberizing and all that stuff.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
And then business been okay? I mean,
Yes,
in Worcester as well,
yes.
it's quite a beautiful side of the
Yes,
world.
but just very hot.
It is, but it also gets very cold in
Yes,
winter
very
as well.
cold also, yes.
Okay, stunning. Now the motor industry and the club that you belong to right now.
Yes.
What is it called? The league that you belong to.
No, I'm by Mega Oval in Worcester,
Right.
and then also in Saldanha by Weskus Oval.
Okay.
So I have 2 home clubs. It's different affiliations. So one is Do for SA and one is Umza. They have a national coming down, I think in September.
Yeah, by Worcester.
Yes.
Okay.
So the nationals is coming up. So yeah, hopefully we're gonna race the nationals also.
Okay. Now let's talk cars off the track. Okay.
Yeah.
What cars have you owned over the years?
VW.
Okay. That's it.
Yeah.
Simple. So what type?
Golfs.
Golfs. Okay.
Yeah, my
Vans.
father also have a fleet of VWs.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you guys are very loyal to the brand.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, does your mom come to watch the races?
Yes.
Okay. And what does she tell you? Does she have a conversation with you before you go on the track?
Not so much, but yes.
Okay. Is she worried? Is she okay?
She's
Is she your biggest fan?
yes.
Ah, there we go. You've taught him well there as well. Now, when you at school, I always know that teachers are very proud of people like yourself, of kids like this, or they worry about you.
I don't actually really talk to my teacher.
Okay, do you keep it separate?
Yes.
Oh, wow. And what if a teacher comes through one of the tracks and he says, I know this guy racing. What are you going to do? You just keep your helmet on, but she doesn't see you. That's a good idea. How's mom feeling about this? Does she
worried? Yeah.
Does mom race as well? Or
no.
Okay.
She's just with the other children, looking after them while we race.
Stunning. What's the camaraderie like at your level? Lots of friends.
Yes.
And I would imagine
business-wise, yes, I get a lot of my customers are racers.
Okay.
So yeah, that's one of the reasons why we get customers also, because everybody knows us. I started 20 years ago in Worcester, so we everybody knows us already.
Okay. And is it very competitive when you get on the track?
Yes, very. Very.
Okay. What's your favorite memorable experience that you've had since you've racing, or few?
We raced one race in Springbok.
Okay.
And then my father, myself, my father, and and my brother, yes, we raced in one heat, and I came first. My brother came second, and my father third. So yeah, that was
that's
nice,
amazing.
Yeah.
Do you guys? I'm sure you have a video. Or,
yes, we do. Yeah, we do.
Stunning. That's so. You guys are competitive as well.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And your favorite racetrack? You said Worcester.
No.
Weskus.
Weskus, yeah.
Okay. All right. For those that would like to get into the sport, what advice do you have?
Stay out of it. It costs a lot of money.
But let's say for those that would really like to make an effort, they find that they've got this need and they would like to express themselves on the track.
Yes.
What advice do you have?
It's cheaper to buy a car that's race ready already.
Okay.
To build a car, there's a lot of people that sells cars for 35,000, 40,000. So it's cheaper to buy a car than building a car. It's going to cost too much more.
Okay, that's good advice. Zuhayr, for those that would like at your age to want to start to race, what advice do you have for them? What would you like to tell them?
Be humble.
Be humble. I like that. That is so. That is like the maturest thing I've ever heard as well. And is there any message you would like to give to your mom, your dad, your grandpa?
No.
Nothing? No. Okay. Zuhayr and Abdul, thanks so much for coming into studio. You guys are amazing. Keep flying that South African flag, and I'm sure you're going to go overseas one day. Do you like to race overseas?
Yes.
Fantastic. Shukran so much for coming into studio. Really appreciate it, and good luck with all your future races. Jazakallah so much. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
And there we go, Dad, Abdul Dalwai and Zuhayr Dalwai in the motorsport industry and been doing this for a couple of years now as well. If you are in the Weskus area, go and check them out. They're at the race, the Oval Racetrack out there as well. That's all that we have from the motorsport team. Shukran to Mariam producing the show, Sohail on technical, and from myself hosting the show, Luqmaan, Shadrach. Have a wonderful evening. Assalamu alaikum.